Hello, Zinc and Miner here. Today I'd like to review the Pudibe pinpointer. Now these are pinpointers made in China. They're like a copy of the Garrett Carrot. Probably heard of it before. But yeah, I had this for like 3 months now and I've been using it. If you're on a tight budget, if you can't get like a Carrot or the Knock the Macro pinpointer or one of those good pinpointers, you can get this for like like a quarter of the price. And it doesn't have the same range as them, but it's decent. But it is hit or miss. But luckily, I got a good one. What I mean by hit or miss, because in the tip here, so sometimes the coil is not fully seated to the tip, and one way to check that is turn it on and take a BB sized piece of aluminum foil, crumple up into a BB, and put it on a tip. Touch it to the tip. Oop. Let's see here. This is much easier. Like there. If you can get a signal on a BB sized foil on the tip, that means the coil's seated. If you're not getting that, don't have it on, don't turn it on. Gently slap it in your palm, because you don't want to like wrap it real hard on something, because there's a ferrite coil in here. There's a ferrite coil. If you're ever taking an AM radio apart and there's like a copper coil winding a rod, like a grayish rod, that's a ferrite rod, and they can be fragile. So you don't want to slam this thing around. But if you're not getting it's not turned on right now. If you're not getting a signal like touching the tip to the BB size foil, the coil is not fully seated. So you just slap it. I don't want to do mine. Mine's fine. I don't want to do that. But you just slap and keep testing it. But with that, I don't have a ruler with me. But you turn it on, and it has a light. And here's a nickel. I don't have a ruler with me, but it is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches range. And as it gets closer, it's like it ramps up. Now, when I first got this, the speaker was louder. It quieted over time, but it's still audible to me. It's still fine to me. And this thing's it says it's like 12 kilohertz, and I noticed that I'll take this nickel and it'll hit about here. If I take a quarter, let me see here. That's the range of the quarter, right about there. Take the nickel. It senses it slightly further away. That's because since it's 12 kilohertz, it's like a lower conductor than the higher conductor quarter. Even though it's like a bigger sized object, you'd think it would see it better. But it's since it's 12 kilohertz, it's more sensitive to it, like a lower conductor, like a nickel. And here's a real low conductor, like a piece of foil. I don't have any gold with me, but this is a good like a test for like gold, like a thin piece of foil. So if that was like a gold ring, now the nickel is more solid, so it takes it a little further away. Now, this is I've seen reviews where people said they took it to the beach, and they didn't specify, and they said, oh, it worked great and stuff like that. They didn't specify if it was a saltwater beach. Since this is VLF, it's not pulse induction like a Naka Macro. It's going false in salt water. There's just water with salt in it. Whoop, let me get the stuff out of the way. See, there's no metal around it. See, and if I put it in, see, it's falsing in salt water. See, no metal, falsing in salt water. Now, let me wipe this off. Now I see some people like, ask it, if it's, if this can detect property markers. Like if the let's say there's a property marker. It's like it's in the ground and you're trying to look for it. It's going to be a tough time trying to find it. You could find it, but if it's like laying flat or something, you can detect it a little further away. A little bit. Well, this should be a little thicker metal. Yeah, like up to like a larger metal. I can like a stove. I can hit it from like 2 feet away. But there's a way to super tune it. Now I'm not going to do this every time I pinpoint. I just did this. Let me turn it off. I just did this. I see people super tuning. They put up like elaborate contraptions, like with zip ties and stuff like that, to hold a piece of metal to bring it. They bring the piece of metal to like a point where it starts to beep. Then they back it off just a little bit. It stops beeping and it increases the range. Now let's try this with a quarter. I'm gonna turn it on. Now, see, all right, roughly 2 inches, 1.5 inches, like I said. Now, if I super tune it, what they call it super tune it, I'm sliding. I have this nickel. I have it covered in tape, so it slides nice, and I have it a little bent, so it's curved to the curvature of the probe. Just bring it up to the. All right, it's just starting the thing. All right, let me try it without the thing. See, it's definitely closer. You've seen the difference. Anyway, I like it. People buy a more expensive pinpointer, and it can detect that to like 3 inches or something, like a coin-sized object and stuff. And this you have to get. The object has to be a little closer. And that's fine with me. I've been metal detecting without a pinpointer for like over 2 decades, and I never had a pinpointer. I just recently, I'm gonna try a pinpointer, and like I'm kicking myself in the rear because like I should have had a pinpointer long ago. It's like it definitely makes your recovery faster, but at least all those years of without a pinpointer. Here's a dime. Without a pinpointer, I became better at pinpointing with the metal detector. Pinpointer should be used in conjunction with a metal detector. Once you locate the metal object, the general area of the object, you just use it to get it out of the dirt. Just, something to point it out of the dirt. And I don't know, this so far it worked fine. I'm just taking care of it. Came with a holster. You can go online and watch videos. You'll see the holster. I'm not gonna play the holster. One thing I did though is I put this zip tie. That's what this is. This is a zip tie right here. The plastic is looks sturdy and stuff, but let me turn this off. Before it has like 3 different modes. It has the beep. Press it. Just vibrate and beep. Then you press again, just beep. Press it again, just vibrate. Press again, both. And okay, I'll turn it off. But yeah, I put the zip tie on because I was afraid it was gonna I thought I was afraid that the plastic, like every time I screwed it, is like the seam. I was afraid the seam will split or something like that. And but no, it's fine. But I just put that as a cautionary thing. I like that. And another thing, I put Teflon tape around the threads. And this thing's supposed to be waterproof. And there's like a O-ring, like a O-ring washer around this part. And I'm afraid to like really like torque it down. I just put it finger tight. I'm afraid to like really torque it down. I don't want to do that. I'm afraid to split it, warp it, stuff. You know, it's good enough for my basic needs. You know, when I got this, I was like, you know, I'm not going to take it in the water or anything, but I did try. I filled a 5-gallon bucket up of water, and I put it in there for like 2.5 hours in a 5-gallon bucket. And before I put it in, the 5-gallon bucket was like cold, like you know, it was ice cold. And so I put the Pinpointer in the fridge for like an hour. This way it's cool. And of course, if you're going to test it for waterproofness, take the battery out. Don't have the battery in it when you're testing it. Anyway, I made sure it was cool. This way it wasn't like warm going in cold water, because it would definitely suck the water in. You know the condensation going on. But anyway, 2.5 hours, and before I took it out, I took it from the pro part and I thrashed it around like for like around 12 seconds or so, like that. Before I put it in, I took like toilet paper and I put it in here. I put it in here just to fill this up in here, and just a little tough toilet paper came out. You know, and this way don't see the threads. I didn't want the toilet paper to interfere with the threads. I just stuffed some toilet paper in there, the contacts. And if you notice, it's like it's keyed, so you can't put in the 9-volt battery wrong. But yeah, I put toilet paper in there, and I put the cap on, put it in for like 2.5 hours, thrashed around a bit. Took it inside and I wiped it down clean. Before I opened it up, I wiped it down all dry. This way, you know, no water got into it that, you know, from me opening it, you know what I mean? So I opened it, the toilet paper and its outer part and the inner part that was a little damp. And there was water on the threads, like in the inner threads. And I pulled the toilet paper out, and it was dry, you know, in the contact area. But thing is, there was an ingression of water on the threads, and I never was gonna take this in the water anyway. Like you know, it's a cheap Pinpointer. It works. It's good enough for my needs. Yeah, if I took this in the water, it would be in a Ziploc. But if I was gonna bring this in the water, it's only for dunking, rinsing, and just like that. I wouldn't use it for long term in the water. It just works. It has a LED light here, as you've seen on and stuff. Comes with a lanyard that I put on, and a holster, and it's good. One thing I avoided when I was researching Pinpointers is like there's ones with like a metal ring that hold the lanyard to. Ones with like the held like the stuff to the cap, like the lanyard. You clip the lanyard to like a cap or a ring that goes in the cap area. I avoid that. I saw this. This was not on the cap. This molded piece you put the lanyard to. I just stuck to that. But yeah, you'll see these like GP Pinpointer and Pudibe, DeWinner, and stuff like that. All sorts of names. But I went with the Pudibe. They're pretty much all the same. But this one works. It works. It's good. I'm very satisfied for the price. It was like under $30. It was like $28 or something like that. And as you've seen, it's not good for salt water. I wouldn't bring it in the water. If it did, it'll be in a freezer bag or something, like a Ziploc bag. I wouldn't, do anything else with it. But yeah, it's good enough. Thank you.